Hello to those of you just joining. I'm just getting all set up. It looks like we're about the way. I think a few issues with people not joining the lobby from what I heard, which is I know the I know the pain running a league myself. I very much know the pain, so it's no problem at all. Lifebelt says he's forgotten where to break, and hopefully he hits an apex. Well, I'm glad to be commentating over a race you're in, Lifebelt. Feel like it's been a while. Well, it's since the ESRL sprint, isn't it? So good luck to you. So just getting ready. So, getting ready to go for Canada. Today, we're doing a sprint race in Canada, which I believe is going to be preceded by a one-shot qualifying session. So that's what we're about to start and get into here. I'm very much looking forward to this. So here we go. We're going to be riding on board with the main Wayne by the looks of things. So I'm just going to... There we go. So riding on board with the main Wayne, not a good first couple of corners, down in 11th for the Tier 2 champ. As he comes now to turns 4 and 5, very, very tentative there. He can be so much more committed through there. It's Vetsku on top at the moment. Lifebout now P1 as we go through the end of Sector 1. The main Wayne very, very tentative. I'm actually going to go and switch to Vetsku, because he seems like he is on a roll at the moment. Through there now, Vetsku on pole. Lifebout's dropped to 8th. NER Ayrton is right beside him. Where is Dunev today? He's not in the lobby, so no Dunev is could be crucial for the championship. But NER Ayrton on pole at the moment. Vetsku down to 3rd, but Mar10 is into the top 2 as we go heading down to the final chicane. You've got to commit yourself really early turn in, and Vetsku hasn't done that, and he's going to lose a couple tenths there, but it's absolutely fine. He's going to make it all the way to the line. 4th place for Vetsku, just pipped by Myra at the end, but it is Ayrton on pole with Mar10 just beside him on the front row for the sprint race. Let me just quickly post commentary stream in the Discord. There we go. Right, so it is NER Ayrton on pole position with Mar10 alongside. We have Vetsku fans in the chat once again, which is great to see. Myra at P3 and his countryman Vetsku P4. It's a all-Finnish second row. Speed Alcoholic on the 3rd row alongside Avi, who is the winner of race 1 this season. DTS Ayrton in P7, and then Denis Ivanov, who's a new driver. I haven't seen him before. The name rings a bell, but yes, he's in P8. Robin A P9. The main Wayne finished P10 in the end. Short Marcus all the way down in 11th, and then Lifebout Trugster were the last two to set a lap with Lostock and the Toe, I think. Yeah, the Toe. Both not able to set a lap. Flying Finns, Vetsku and Myra. It looks like we have a very wet sprint race though, so this is going to be very interesting. I do wonder if the race is going to be dry. But for the sprint, we definitely have some rain. 2 goats, Vetsku is more goat. Right then. Everyone getting their setups ready. So we're about to head into the sprint race. 30 seconds until we start. Thank you very much, Lapis. I do appreciate it. Sadly, Sumo is not here today. We do have Wumax in. I think he's too late to start the race. Yeah, no Sumo today. It's just me, and it is my birthday today. So I'm hoping that ESRL can provide us with an excellent race to make it very much worthwhile. We get started on the first formation lap of the night. We'll have two, of course, because sprint race and the full race. Ayrton leads us off on the formation lap. Right, let's get everything up. Everyone on the intermediate tyres. Okie dokie. Right. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, had a good day. I got Super Smash for my Switch that I got for Christmas, which very nice indeed. I've wanted that since Christmas, and I've got it now. I did ask for it. So. I also got a nice little like miniature sort of like Airfix set. I don't know how popular that is outside English-speaking countries, but it's like a model greenhouse, but it's very intricate and it's got LEDs and everything in it. So yeah, it's quite cool. I can't wait to start building on that. But anyways, formation lap coming to an end now. Ayrton gets a 0 for his helmet. Who haven't we reviewed for helmets yet? Vetsku looks like he's got a new helmet. That's quite a nice helmet. So that is quite nice. Everyone getting ready to start, but yeah, from this view, I think I'm going to give that 8. Yeah, maybe even 9. 8.5. That's very decent. So everyone getting ready to start on the grid now anyways. NER Ayrton is going to get us started in the Aston Martin, the championship leader. His main rival is not in the lobby. So huge opportunity for him as 3, 4, 5 red lights on. And we're underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a terrible start for Ayrton as Martin straight through both Red Bulls, in fact, into the top 2. Myra down the inside and Ayrton's getting swarmed. It's nearly 3 wide through turn 2. Ayrton and Vetsku making contact. Speed Alcoholics there as well. Everyone getting up to speed with the wet conditions. I think someone's in the wall. It must have been Avi. He's dropping down the grid. Ayrton still P3. Vetsku down to 5th as Speed Alcoholic gets up into the top 4. But it's a terrible start for Ayrton, and it's a Red Bull 1-2 as it stands. Myra has a 1.5 second lead over his teammate as the Flying Finn leads the race, with Ayrton having to recover now. As we come through Sector 1, Speed Alcoholic looking for a way past the reigning champion and the championship leader. That's all one car, by the way. Speed Alcoholic, he's right behind the Aston Martin. Is he going to dive down into the hairpin? Ayrton nearly hits the back of Martin. Has to take avoiding action. Denev's in the lobby, so he should be able to join for the full race, but he's going to miss the sprint, unfortunately. Speed Alcoholic right behind Ayrton still, though, as they come through. Denis Ivanov is right behind Lifebout, who's made up 6 spots at the start. What a start for the Dutchman, as Speed Alcoholic still right behind NER Ayrton. A little error on the exit of the chicane is going to lose him the chance to challenge it to turn 1, but Myra, 1.2 second lead. Martin maybe finding his feet and going to chase after his teammate, but 10 laps, well, 11 more laps in this race. Can Myra hold on is the question, and can Red Bull hold on for what would be an impressive 1-2 finish? Huge for the constructors. even in the sprint race with the reduced points. Looks like a mistake from Speed though, lost a lot of time through that usually flat out section, but of course not going to be flat out in the wet. And a little mistake there on exit as well is going to invite Vetsku to have a go. The other Finnish driver on the grid, Lifebout's right behind too. Denis Ivanov has lost 2 places, but here goes Vetsku. What a move this would be. Took advantage of the compromise line for Speed. He's going to go round the outside on the approach to the hairpin. Speed Alcoholic keeps his foot in, but so does Vetsku. He's going to get on the power earlier, being on the outside in the wet, as they still go side by side all the way down to the wall of Champion Chicane. Surely this can't go well. Vetsku backs out, is now behind Speed, but is he going to go for it down the inside into the final corner? Surely not, and no, he backs out very sensibly indeed. That would have definitely ended in tears if he tried to go for that. But Myra sets the fastest lap now, 1.8 second lead. Lifebout's game has crashed, is what I assume has happened. That's been happening to him all month pretty much, so that's such a shame for him. He's going to drop down the field now after such an amazing start that he had. And now Vetsku trying to find another opportunity to get past this Ferrari, nearly loses the car. That was well held by the Williams driver, and of course hopefully Lifebout can get back in soon, but at the moment he is a second down on his teammate, but he does have a healthy 3.6 second margin to short Marcus, who is also finding his way up the grid, 4 places up for the sprint champion into P7, and he's going to be chasing after that car, but Lifebout is back in the session, so I think that might be that opportunity gone. Who's that spun? That is Avi again. He is not having a good time, maybe rear wing damage from that initial contact on lap 1, but yeah, not good at all for Avi here. Lap 3 of 12, we're going to be heading on to lap 4. Myra still has a 1.8 to 1.9 second lead over his teammate, but that's come down significantly by 5/10, so must have been a huge error for Myra on the exit, and I do wonder how much that's going to cost him. But NER Ayrton still down in P3. What happened to the Danish driver at the start, I do wonder. I think maybe got caught out because the lights did go out quite quickly, so maybe just wasn't paying attention, because it didn't seem to be the second phase. It did seem to be that he just got swamped straight away. So yeah, just poor reaction time from the reigning champ, and he's lost 2 places as a result. It's still a Red Bull 1-2 as Myra re-extends that gap again. Gave up Monaco rather awful at F122. Watching the commentator say it's his birthday every 10 seconds. Hey now, okay, look. I just made a joke about it in APP, okay? As NER Ayrton nearly into the back of Mar 10 there, as they go through the hairpin. Look, Rick, it's not often that I get to say, hey everyone, pay attention to me. So, you know, when I have a legitimate reason to do that. No, I think it's fair. I think it's fair for someone to say, hey everyone, it's my birthday today. I think that's totally fair. As Denis Ivanov looks like he's gone for a spin, he has at the wall of Champion Chicane. He's probably going to have rear wing damage from that as well, all the way down to 13th, 14th. Disaster for Mercedes. Amir is Avi's usual teammate, is not here today, but Denis has taken his place, but it's not gone well, put it that way, for Mercedes in this sprint race. Maybe they can come back into it later on, but now Ayrton right on the back of Mar 10. This is far from over here. That 5 of 12, still nearly not even halfway through this sprint race. It feels like we should be, but obviously the wet weather makes the lap times longer. NER Ayrton now much faster on that lap than his previous personal best. Myra with a 2.1 second lead is bossing this race at the moment, as Red Bull look for a very important 1-2 in this sprint race. Ayrton gets a much better run out of the wall of champion chicane, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1. Indeed, he isn't. Do wonder about the ERS. It looks fairly even between the two of them. Maybe Ayrton a little bit less, but a bit of a mistake from the reigning champ out of turn 3 there, or turn 2 rather. As they head through sector 1, Speed Alcoholic just behind in the Ferrari as well, just sniffing for an opportunity. And don't forget about F1 Vetsku. Anything goes wrong, he is going to be there, and he's been fantastic so far. Lifebout is also right there, right behind them. If anything does go wrong, if a battle ensues, as Robin getting past DTS Ayrton further back into turn 2. Great move from him, but it's a 3-second time penalty for Lifebout, and how crucial could that end up being for the Williams driver? Well, it's certainly not gonna. It's certainly going to mean he's not going to gain any places unless penalties occur elsewhere. But Short Marcus can close down those 7 tenths. Lifebout could be in danger of losing a place. Speed Alcoholic right on the back of Ayrton now, who seems to be struggling in these conditions. As Myra sets another fastest lap at the front, but Speed Alcoholic beats it, and that's how fast the South African is, as at the moment. Still right behind this Aston Martin, and Ayrton has got to watch his back here. So through sector 1 they go again. Speed Alcoholic just managing that gap at the moment. 0.5, 0.6. It's hovering around that margin, but all it takes is one error. And talking about one error, Vetsku now with a 3-second time penalty. So there go his chances of getting anywhere in the top 4, unless something goes really wrong ahead of him. But he's got to keep his foot in, of course. But now he's got the danger of Lifebout behind him. His teammate could have a go if something happens, but I think Lifebout's initial start has really flattered him a little bit. He doesn't have the pace of these top 5, I don't think. Certainly not in these conditions. Short Marcus is now within nearly within 3 seconds of Lifebout, and looking to take a top 6 finish away today, which would be fantastic considering where he started. Get himself some more points on the board from the sprint as he comes over the line. Seemed like a very good lap of 121.7, not bad at all from the Alfa Romeo driver, and he's just trying his best to get back within that 3 seconds. It's hovering around the margin, and we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on that gap as we go on. But we've also got to keep an eye on this battle as Vetsku goes very deep there into, I think that's turn 6, as they come out now towards 9 and 10. Oh, Vetsku. We've got another Vetsku fan in the chat. Speed Alcoholic is the next to get himself a time penalty. This is the Track Limits Grand Prix after all, and we are seeing it now. Speed nearly into the back of the Danish driver as they go through the hairpin, but Ayrton's going to get a better run, I think. But with that penalty, Speed is going to find it very difficult to get himself on the podium here. And Ayrton looking to try and get past Martin at some point as well, nearly into the back of the Red Bull. Had to be very careful there not to cause a disaster. So even this man, even NER Ayrton, is not infallible by any means. The main Wayne gets himself a 3-second time penalty as well, down in P8. Shouldn't matter for him as it stands. He should be able to secure that 8th place. I believe it's the top 8 that score points in the sprint race in ESRL, so he is absolutely fine where he is at the moment. DTS Ayrton losing another place further back meanwhile. Oh no, Enyart Ayrton with a huge spin. I think speed might have hit him, and here comes Vetsku round the outside of the reigning champ, and he's made the move, I think. He's still got that 3-second time penalty though, remember, and yeah, Vetsku into P3, and I think there might have been contact between Speed and Ayrton. I wasn't paying attention to the screen, I was looking at the mini-map, if you caught it in the chat, please do tell me what happened if you did manage to see it. Avi now setting the fastest lap on his set of inters, so at least taking that point away. Although I don't think you get fastest lap point in the sprint. I'm not sure. I would have to check. But Vetsku up to P3, but now he's going to really regret getting that 3-second time penalty, because it's going to cost him this sprint podium as it stands. Ayrton is still within range of P3. Martin now sets the fastest lap, 21.0 on his hunt towards Myra, but he is not getting any closer to his teammate. Short Marcus sets it now as well. 2.1 seconds is the gap between Vetsku and Martin. I think Red Bull are pretty safe on for a 1-2 in this sprint race, which would be a fantastic result for them. Martin is catching Myra, but I don't think a move is going to be made before the end, even if he is catching legitimately at this rate. Because it's one thing to catch the car ahead, it's quite another to make a move. Although, you never know, Myra could have tapped the wall while we weren't looking and gotten a bit of damage, and that could be why Martin is closing the gap, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We're coming up to 2 laps to go. Myra goes quite deep at the hairpin, and I do wonder if that's exactly what's happened, you know, because Myra is now losing time by the bucket load. And can we see any damage on that Red Bull, or is it superficial? I can't quite tell. As they come down towards the World Champions chicane, we should get a good view as Myra comes out. No, there's no end plate damage, but Martin is now within a second as we come onto lap 11 of 12, and Myra, I think, has some damage to that Red Bull. I think has just maybe tapped the wall, and we can't see it. It must be a small amount of damage, but it's enough to affect you, especially in the wet. Or maybe Martin is just turning on the afterburners. Who knows? They've both got a similar amount of ERS, so it's difficult to really say. I'm sure we'll hear it from Myra later on in the Discord, but yeah, it's an odd one, that is, and Martin could still have a go at winning this sprint race, as Ayrton trying to stick with Vetsku, doing it well at the moment, just about at that 1 second range, but of course anything under 3 seconds and Ayrton will still secure P3 in this sprint race. Let's have a look at the penalties. It's 6 seconds for Vetsku. It is 6 seconds for the Finnish driver, so that is definitely game over for Vetsku in terms of getting this top 3 finish. And I think it's going to drop him to P5 as well. Lap 11 of 12, but here comes Martin on his teammate right behind. We're going into the last lap. Martin really turning on the afterburners late in this sprint race. And it's a Red Bull 1-2. Don't screw it up, boys. Don't make contact and ruin your 1-2 here. It could be a front row lockout for you, and there's no need to push this. Vetsku is 2 seconds behind with 6 seconds of penalties. There's no need at all to push this, as Martin still right behind his teammate. He's still going to look for the move if he can. 0.3 of a second is the gap between them. We've got to keep an eye on Speed as well, right behind Ayrton, if anything happens between these two again. But Ayrton, I think, is still going to secure P3, but that terrible start really cost him in this sprint race. It's going to cost him a couple of points in the end, but here we go. Final few corners now. Vetsku is catching up to the 2 Red Bulls, but it's too late. He's got too many penalties. And Martin right behind Myra as they come to the hairpin. He's going to get a better line on exit, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make this move. I think Myra's got this, but who knows? The afterburners are on. The ERS is deployed for Martin, but it must be deployed for Myra as well, you would think. Is he going to make a dive into the final chicane? No, he's not going to do that to his teammate. Surely not. As they come down towards the line, I think Myra's done enough. Yes, he has. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but Myra wins it. Myra wins the Canada sprint race. Ayrton sets the fastest lap at the end and finishes third after the penalties. Martin in second. Vetsku drops to 6th place after short Marcus comes out of nowhere to finish 5th. So he'll be P5 on the grid for the real race. Speed Alcoholic will be 4th, right behind NER Ayrton, who will start 3rd, and quite an unusual position for Ayrton to start. We're normally used to seeing him start at the front, but it will be 2nd row start for Ayrton. Lifebout managed to finish 7th in the end, just behind his teammate. The main Wayne, P8, quite a long way behind, but I think that is 1 point still for this sprint race. I will have to double check that though. Robinet, P9 in the Ferrari. That's where he'll start. Avi setting the fastest lap at the end, taking it away from Ayrton. DTS Ayrton 11th, Lostock 12th, The Toe 13th in the end. Avi down in 14th. It was really a disaster for him from lap 1 onwards. And Trugster finishes the race, the sprint race I should say, in 15th to finish us off. So the full race still to come, remember. Don't go away. We've still got a lot more racing around this track to do. But for now, it's Red Bull's day. A 1-2 for them in the sprint race. I did think your game crashed, Lifebout. That is a shame. But I also don't think you could have done too much more. But possibly ahead of Vetsku, but very close. Right. Let me have a quick look at... It looks like we might be making a new lobby, by the way, so I will keep you updated on that. Point system, right. Sprint race. Yes, only the top 8 score points, but it's 3 points to the main Wayne. It goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3. So the main Wayne securing those 3 points, but Ayrton losing out on 2, and it's a sprint race win for Myra. Fantastically done from Myra, and that's definitely going to be factored in to my thoughts on Driver of the Day later on when the full race is done. Yeah, we are having a lobby reset, so we'll have a bit of an interval here. You can climb positions in race. I agree. I do agree. I think Vetsku can definitely climb up in the race. So we are going to quit this lobby. Wait for an invite to the new one. So in the meantime, how's everyone's weeks been in the chat? Make sure to like the stream if you haven't already, although 4 watching and 4 likes, so I think everyone has done that, so thank you very much. Wow, I didn't even notice I'm up to 131 subscribers. When did that happen? I swear I only just hit 100 a few months ago, so thank you everyone. I really appreciate that. But yeah, how's everyone's weeks been as we wait for the new lobby? Well, we've got an invite straight away, so very efficient work from the ESRL admins. Right, I'm just going to go and get myself another drink, so I will be right back, and as soon as we're ready, we're going to start the next, well, the full race, so I'm looking forward to that. I hope everyone remembers to put on their setups, because when lobby resets happen, it's easy to forget that you've got to put your setup back on, so we'll see. But anyways, I'll be right back. Right, welcome back everyone. Looks like we're about to get underway for the full race in Canada. We're in it for the long haul, everyone. But you know, these things happen. I have full sympathy as a league owner myself. These things can happen. So it is no problem at all. Right. So here we go. Everyone gonna hopefully remember to get their setups on. Alright, here we go. 10 seconds until we get back underway. I am not muted. That's good. That's always good. Should you do a two-stop? It is definitely slower. So I'd say no. Right. Update. Right, let's have a look at tyres. So, almost everyone... Well, actually, no, it's a pretty even split. Most... no, yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, most on the hards, but 8 drivers on the mediums, so it's pretty much an exactly even split, given that we have a 17-car grid. Do watch Dunev at the back in particular. P16 obviously couldn't make it to the sprint race, but he will be one to watch as the race goes on for certain. So keep watch on him. And, the two Red Bulls at the front starting on mediums. Ayrton is in particular to look at because he's starting on hards, the defending champion and championship leader, with his main rival down in 16th, also starting on the hards, but this is Canada. Literally anything can happen around here, so do not count your horses at all. Count your horses? What am I talking about? Count your chickens. That is what I meant to say. Count your horses. What are you talking about, Ghost? Right, anyway. Down towards the final chicane to end the formation lap. Ayrton on hards, Speed on hards, and then Short Marcus and Vetsku both starting on the mediums. And then we've got Lifeout and Wayne starting on the hards, and then an even split further down the grid. So, out to get underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. We had the sprint race. It was a Red Bull 1-2. Can they repeat the feat? And get themselves in a really good position for this Constructors' Championship. We've got a spinner down further down. That's Denis Ivanov trying to get himself into the right place. Could be a huge result for Red Bull on the cards. Here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. It looks like a good start for Myra, but an even better start for Martin. Round the outside goes the Red Bull of Martin and takes the lead. Ayrton still in P3, but Myra trying to fight off the defending champ. Here comes Ayrton down the inside on the run to turn 3. It looks like Ayrton's going to do it. Myra around the outside. How have they stayed side by side through there? Ayrton's still there as they go through, and Ayrton into P2 now. Myra down to 3rd. Disastrous start, pretty much a carbon copy of Ayrton's start in the sprint from pole position, and Myra could lose more positions. Short Marcus out of nowhere is up to P3 now. Myra all the way down to P4, and he's going to be gutted with how this race has started. Speed Alcoholic is now having a go round the outside of the Red Bull. What a disastrous start it is for the Finnish driver, as Vetsku round the outside of Speed, meanwhile, further down at the hairpin, nearly makes it work on those better medium tyres, but Speed holds on for now. As they go through, Denis Ivanov and Robinet side by side as well. Further back for P8. Is Denis going to hold it there? He is. Down the inside goes the Mercedes and takes P8 from the Ferrari. Great start for Denis. TF Martin sets fastest lap, of course, at the front, but Short Marcus putting Ayrton under a lot of pressure now. Obviously, Ayrton is going to struggle on those hard tyres early on, but if he can hold these guys off, then he's got a real good effort at this. But Martin is increasing that gap all the time. It's the question comes down to whether Martin can stay consistent now and not bin it, because he's had a history so far this season of doing exactly that, and in the sprints as well. As talking of binning it, we've seen Denis Ivanov drop all the way to the back. Looks like a spin or something, maybe contact. Not sure. I wasn't watching down there, but yeah, it's a shame for Denis. In the Mercedes, it was a great start for him, but now down into last place. Short Marcus still putting pressure on Ayrton. 2.3 is the gap. Looked like Martin got a poor run through the hairpin, because lost a couple tenths to Ayrton. But here comes Short Marcus now down the inside of the defending champion. No fear at all from the Alfa Romeo, and into P2 he goes, taking that position. And Martin fastest lap again. Short Marcus though up to P2, 2.5 seconds is the gap, and Ayrton now is going to be under pressure from the sprint race winner Myra, who's right behind on those medium tyres, and Speed Alcoholic's under pressure as well from Vetsku. It must have been a huge mistake from Vetsku. He was side by side with the Ferrari until I switched to his camera, so must have been a moment. So well held by the Finnish driver. As his teammate as well, right behind on the hard tyres is Lifebout. As always, you always see Lifebout starting on the hards. It's just a fact of life. Bout as we go through sector 2 now. Vetsku right on the back of Speed Alcoholic on those medium tyres. Is he going to dive into the hairpin? No. No such move from Vetsku. That's the sort of thing Speed would do, but Vetsku, I don't think Vetsku is has been in the league long enough to try something audacious like that, or to feel comfortable trying something audacious like that. He could have gone for it there, he really could have. Speed would have left him room, but Ayrton now under big pressure from Myra is losing time to Martin. It's up to 3 seconds now, the gap to the leader. Short Marcus though setting the fastest lap, and looking like he wants to challenge for this race victory from, what was it, 7th, 8th on the grid? Or no, I think it was 5th or 6th actually, because of the penalties, but still, it's a fantastic effort so far from Short Marcus, who's binned it. That is Denis Ivanov again at the exit of the hairpin, as Robinet picks up the first time penalty for track limits of the session in that Ferrari. And yeah, track limits Grand Prix, we're going to see a lot more of those as the race goes on. But Ayrton now is keeping up with Short Marcus. This is exactly what he needs to do. Those hards are now in their range, and as long as he stays in DRS range of the Alfa Romeo, then he's going to be absolutely fine and still within a great chance of winning this race. This is exactly what he's going to want to do. Donev, meanwhile, up to P11. Keep an eye on that Alpine. He has gotten past DTS Ayrton. Lostock is next in his sights. And yeah, do keep an eye on his progress, because that is 5 places gained already, I believe. Ayrton sets the fastest lap. 2.8 now is the gap between Ayrton and the leader. And clearly those hard tyres are in their range. Ayrton really putting on the afterburners. And this is the sort of pace we know he's capable of. And when he's like this, it's extremely difficult to take a race win from him. Donev still right behind Lostock. As it must have been a huge error from Martin further up. That gap just dropped by about a second for seemingly no reason. So Short Marcus now within range, and Lostock being overtaken by Donev, who's now up into the top 10 and looking to make his way further up. The main Wayne is the next target, the Division 2 champion, as here they go towards the hairpin. Donev, is he going to be in DRS range? It's going to be close as they go through, but do keep an eye on that Alpine. Speed Alcoholic just behind Vetsku with Lifebelt behind. I think Speed's gotten overtaken by Vetsku actually. Well, we weren't looking, as Vetsku though gets his first 3-second time penalty. We saw 2 of them from him in the sprint race alone, so I really hope that he can hold it together for the rest of the race. Otherwise he is going to lose a lot of positions on penalties at the end, as we've got another spin from Denis Ivanov, who is having an absolutely horrific what I believe is his debut. And Lostock as well has binned it, it looks like, in the McLaren. He has indeed at turn 2. So disaster for him, as Martin is now within striking range of Short Marcus, or the other way round I should say, and Ayrton is still there, and Myra has been shaken off entirely. Those medium tyres are really starting to suffer, it seems, because the Red Bull is out of DRS range of the top 3, and Myra, after looking so incredibly strong in the sprint race, looks like he could be out of luck for even a podium here, because those top 3 are just so fast in these dry conditions, and Myra just clearly very happy in the wet, but not so much in the dry. Dennis retires in the pits, has to be said very unsurprisingly. I do feel for him, but that is racing. Sometimes it's not your day. Perhaps had rear wing damage as well, that could explain some of the spins, but Ayrton, it's now this top 3 in a train. It's the Martin train, as Short Marcus now within DRS range after Martin looked so comfortable. 2 seconds and more was the gap between him and P2, and now it's down to less than a second just a few laps later. And Short Marcus, does he get DRS? Not quite. Very, very close though, but that ERS is looking shaky on that Alfa Romeo, you have to say. That flashing red light is already going, and Ayrton knows that this is an opportunity, but Ayrton's very low as well. Look at that on the steering wheel. Not much in the tank for the reigning champion either. What about Myra? What's Myra looking like? A little bit more, but not that much more on that other Red Bull. Meanwhile, the race leader has got about 80%, so Martin still looking strong on the ERS front. It's going to take a mistake for him to be overtaken here, but the other 2 are now within striking range. So lap 8 of 35. Martin still leads the race in this Red Bull. Short Marcus just behind, sitting still in that 1 second range, or around about that margin. He must be getting frustrated in that cockpit, because he knows he's so close to getting DRS and having that stranglehold. And no, huge mistake from Martin, and I was talking about a mistake from the Red Bull, and there it is. Short Marcus now right behind, and Martin, despite that huge advantage he has in ERS, now has just thrown away his lead, and Short Marcus is going to be within DRS range for sure now. NER Ayrton as well, looking to make his way through. He's got the hard tyres on. He is going to be absolutely rapid on the mediums later on in this race. So I still have to say at this point, favourite to win is once again NER Ayrton. Deneuve, meanwhile, is up to P9, but Robinet is next, 2.2 seconds up the road, so still a lot more progress to be made by the Alpine. But he won't be happy to see his mate. Hello again, we've had a bit of a controller moment there, it ran out of battery. But we're back now. And we've still got Short Marcus, who's now lost time to the front runner of Mar 10. What's the gap? It's 1 second. So yeah, really struggling. Short Marcus is. Maybe those mediums starting to give way a little bit. 1.2 seconds is the gap now, and after it looked so promising for Short Marcus, he was right behind Martin at this point last lap, and now he's 1.4 behind. He's lost a second in the space of one lap, and Ayrton looking very dangerous right behind him now. No DRS on that Alfa Romeo anymore. And Ayrton, if he can get any closer, he'll be looking to make the move, but he knows that he's going to be faster later on in the race, so he doesn't have to force anything here. But Myra now within 1.5 seconds of the top three. That gap has come down. Whether it will come down any more is another story, but we will see. Deneuve now gets a 3-second time penalty. That is not good at all for him. I wonder how much that's going to cost him at the end of the race. He is catching Robinet, but obviously Robinet is a seasoned ESRL driver, a 2 or 3 time podium scorer in Division 1. He is not an easy man to get past or to catch up to, and Deneuve is seeing that, as that gap is not coming down as quickly as for the other cars that he's already overtaken so far this race. Of course, Robinet on the mediums as well. There's Myra 1.3 behind Ayrton now. It's coming down. It is coming down. Short Marcus 1.8 behind Mar 10. Mar 10 has found his pace once again in that Red Bull. But he's got to cut those mistakes out of his racing, because those are the sorts of mistakes which cost you races, and it could so easily have cost him the lead there. And I mean, if he hadn't made that mistake, it cost him something like 1.5 seconds. He could be much more clear and much more comfortable at this point, especially with Ayrton going to be hunting him down later on better tyres in the second stint. But Myra is continuing to hover around that 1.3 range. Is it going to come down any more? Could Myra get himself within DRS range of these two? Remains to be seen, but Short Marcus still looking strong in that Alfa Romeo at the moment. I believe Short Marcus won the sprint around here. I can't remember now, but Robinet getting past Lifebout. There's a problem for Lifebout. What's happened to the Williams driver? I think there's no front wing on that car. There isn't indeed. Lifebout has had a spin, lost his front wing, and he's going to be into the pits. What a shame that is for the Dutchman. I think he will transition to a 2-stop now. But disaster for him. As the main Wayne and Avi, meanwhile, going toe-to-toe in the hairpin just behind. Avi trying to go for a move on the inside, but not quite making it work. Short Marcus is into the pits very early on those medium tyres. Here comes Avi on the main Wayne. He makes that move stick as Short Marcus into the pits. Meanwhile, Robinet and Deneuve now side by side, and Deneuve makes that move on the Ferrari. Easily done, and the Frenchman down to P7, but Deneuve now into the top 6. But with that 3-second time penalty, how much is that going to come back to haunt him later on in this race? I do wonder. 2.9 seconds to his next target, the veteran speed alcoholic, who someone... Oh, there's a problem for Ayrton! The reigning champion has spun! Disaster! And he's collected Deneuve! Of all people, he's collected Deneuve! And the defending champ is out of the race! Deneuve is going to be furious. He's got a 5-second penalty. We've got a VSC. I don't know how that isn't a full safety car, but especially since in the last race I was just in, it brought out a safety car for debris on the track, but that's not a safety car. Okay, Codemasters, but Deneuve is going to be fuming. He's got end plate damage on the Alpine. He's going to have to come in, and that's a huge blow to his race. Ayrton just didn't think there, just trying to get out the way of the racing line, but Deneuve was trying to avoid him, and yeah, we could see what happened. Several drivers in the pits taking advantage of the VSC. TF Martin onto the hards now, and he's going to have a huge margin on short Marcus because of the VSC, I think. Out comes the Red Bull from the pit lane. Where's short Marcus? Here he comes in the Alfa Romeo. Watch for the Red Bull on the left-hand side. There he goes. So Martin, 2 cars ahead now of short Marcus as well. Well, 2 cars between them. But what drama there. The 2 rivals collide. They couldn't avoid each other. Of course it was Deneuve was the car that Ayrton collected there. Of course. You couldn't write a script like that. But Deneuve into the pits for medium tyres, and he's got yet another fight back on his hands now. But now, after all of that, look at this. It's a Ferrari 1-2. Who would have thought? Speed Alcoholic and Robinet in the top 2. Obviously, they've both got to pit, but still, they're going to enjoy it while it lasts, where they are. But wow, that is drama of the highest order. You could not write that sort of script. Unbelievable that was. I can't believe the one car that he took out was Deneuve. That is crazy. But short Marcus and DTS Ayrton side by side in the Wall of Championship chicane. Short Marcus gets past, but at the expense of a penalty, which he may be able to dispute in the stewards room and say that DTS Ayrton forced him off, but is not an issue for me to talk about. Short Marcus now 1.3 behind the main Wayne, but Martin is now 2.1 seconds up the road from him. So Martin gained probably about maybe half a second from that VSC. It did come in straight after he came in the pits, so didn't gain too much, but still fairly substantial gain for him. We've got yellow flags. Who's that? It is Avi. Avi's gone round in the Mercedes, and that is a bad day gone worse for the Israeli. He's got a time penalty. He's got he's got no front left end plate. He's down to P9, and he's still got to pit in this race. Myra, meanwhile, up to P8 after it all, but behind Vetsku now. I don't know quite how that happened. What's happened to Myra? Must have been a mistake from the Red Bull, or something happened. I'm not quite sure, because Myra was definitely ahead of Vetsku before. But I'll tell you what that means. It means Vetsku, as long as he can keep it a bit more clean than he did in the sprint in terms of the penalties, could be in with a real shot of getting on the podium this race. Which would be a fantastic result for him. And fellow countryman, 2.1 seconds behind. Short Marcus right behind the main Wayne already, but that gap to Martin has not decreased. Deneuve currently P12. I'm just going to do some maths on the driver standings while not much is going on. So Ayrton on 44. Deneuve was 4 points behind coming into this race. Where Ayrton will have gotten 8 points from the sprint, so the gap will be 12 after that. But here comes short Marcus. Meanwhile, I didn't think he'd be close enough. He's more than close enough. Ahead well before the corner. I think the main Wayne backed out of that. He knew it wasn't his race. And he is down to P5, but short Marcus now on the hunt for Martin once more, and this could be a hunt for the race win, although that penalty could come back to haunt him later on, just as with many other people in this race. The top 2 in particular. Robinet staying out on those medium tyres. 15 laps he's done on those. Surely they're not going to go too much longer. He's 3.5 seconds behind. Who has gone for a spin? It's Speed Alcoholic. It's his teammate has gone for a spin just in front of him, and now Robinet leads the race. Is there damage on that Ferrari? No visible damage, but he's gotten himself another time penalty. It's difficult to tell, but the two Ferraris swap around after a mistake from the South African. You really hate to see that from Speed, but down to second place he is, and still yet to pit, and he's going to drop all the way down the grid when he does come in for his stop. Is Robinet going to come in? That's the question. Nope, Robinet stays out again on those medium tyres. It's going to be a 16th lap on them, and it's going to be 17 by the end of this one. Robinet really putting those medium tyres through their paces, as Speed Alcoholic now is going to be under pressure from Martin pretty soon, who has stopped, and Short Marcus is not too far behind either. So if Speed holds up Martin a bit, Short Marcus could be back in this race. Ferrari engines working together inadvertently here, if Speed does stay out and hold up Martin. Well, I know Speed's a very honourable racer, so I don't think he will, but as the main Wayne spins around in the background, and that's another one, another victim of that particular corner. If even the defending champion Ayrton is spinning there, you know that it's a difficult corner. It's, you know, you're in good company, the main Wayne, as it were. So don't worry too much about that. But he is down to P7 now as a result, lost a lot of time. And I do wonder when we're going to see the first hard tyre pit stops, as Robinet finally into the pits on those medium tyres. It's going to be hards, I assume, but who knows, maybe Robinet is going for something different. No, it is going to be hards for the Ferrari. But where is the Frenchman going to exit the pits, I wonder? The main Wayne is just coming down the straight, so here is the main Wayne. Keep an eye on the left-hand side of your screen. I think Robinet is going to be well behind, as there he goes. Robinet just behind the main Wayne, but in front of Lostock, crucially. So he can afford to get those hard tyres up to temperature now on this lap, and then go chasing after the main Wayne. But I think the main Wayne will pit probably before Robinet has a chance to get past, but we'll see. But it's not too bad at all from Robinet so far. Womax is retired in the pit lane. That is unfortunate for him. Yeah, that's a shame, you have to say. So yeah, some maths. So Deneuve, before this race, after the sprint, he was 12 points behind Ayrton. I think P10 gets you 10 points in ESRL, so Deneuve will be, if he can gain a couple more positions, which I'm sure he will when the pit stops start happening, he will be in with a real shot of taking the championship lead, despite the collection between him and his main rival. But, Ayrton will be on 52 points after this race. Yeah, the championship hotting up, but Deneuve taken out there, and Deneuve gains a place because Lifebout has spun it once again. That's such a shame for the Dutchman. He's down to 12th, and he is having a bit of a nightmare now. One spin breeds another, as it were, and we're seeing that right here for the Williams driver. Let's cut back up to Robinet, who's right behind the main Wayne. I'm keeping an eye on the front as well, because Martin is now in DRS range of Speed Alcoholic. And in fact, I am going to switch to the front, because Martin is right behind that Ferrari. But a fantastic run through the final chicane for Speed Alcoholic. Keeps him well out of strike range for Martin. And now, Short Marcus has been brought into it. It's exactly as I said. Speed has held up Martin, and Short Marcus is back in the race as Robinet down the inside of the main Wayne up to turn 1. And the Haas driver couldn't keep his foot in. It's very fun to keep your foot in around the outside of turn 1 and then have the inside for turn 2. It's a great move to make, and it's great fun in the cockpit as well to pull that off. But the main Wayne happy to let Robin go this time. After all, he's still yet to pit in this race. Martin trying to get a good exit out of the hairpin now. He wants to have a go at this Ferrari. He knows he's being held up here, and Short Marcus is within range, but there's still no penalty on that Red Bull, crucially. And as it stands, even if Short Marcus gets past, Martin is still going to be comfortably winning the race due to that lack of penalty, as Speed dives into the pit lane finally for what I assume will be a set of the medium tyres, and that promotes you-know-who, F1 Vetsku, into the top 3. Myra, the gap to Myra is 3.5 seconds. What are the penalties like? Still only 3 on that Williams. So if he can keep that gap above 3 seconds, he will get himself a maiden podium in ESRL, and wouldn't that be very nice indeed for him? And his fans, which were in the chat, but I don't think are anymore. I think everyone left after the lobby changed, unfortunately. But regardless, Vetsku 3.9 behind Short Marcus. He's not really in the race for the win, but 4 seconds to Myra. He's just got to keep this up, and he will be on his maiden podium, which would be a brilliant result. Lifebout again, his game has crashed. Disaster today. Why couldn't his game crash during the race before this? That's what I want to know. Because then I might have won. But regardless, Short Marcus right behind Martin. DRS range not quite there. Lifebout sobbing in the chat after another game crash. But now Robinet is right behind his teammate. The ERS is very much lacking. It's very easy to burn through your ERS around here, and extremely difficult. It takes a very, very long time to gain your ERS back on this track. Donev, though, meanwhile, up to P7 after the pit stops. So, as it stands, he would take the championship lead, but by a solitary point over his main rival, NER Ayrton, and he is going to be fuming because it could have been so much more if he hadn't have been collected by his rival right here at this point on the track. So he's going to be frustrated, but I think he can still call this a job well done. A fantastic recovery from him it's been. He does have that 3-second penalty, but he's well clear of Avi, and both the drivers in front of him also have penalties, so he could gain himself another couple of positions here before the end, but I think top 4 would definitely be a step too far for the Alpine. But every point counts, especially when you're competing for a championship against someone like NER Ayrton, although we've seen today he is far from infallible. A spin at a crucial time and a crucial point on the track, and then just rejoining in a well, what could be argued to be a dangerous way, and collecting his rival, but in the process DNFing himself. And Donev really has to count himself lucky that he's still in this race, because that was a big impact. And I'm very surprised that it only DNF'd Ayrton and not Donev. So he can count himself a little bit lucky, but also extremely unlucky that he was in that place at that time in the first place. Short Marcus right behind Martin still within that DRS range. This is the only battle on track, really. Donev is 2.8 behind Robinet, but 10 lap old mediums, they're going to start hurting now. And I do wonder if he is going to take them to the end. It would be quite the slog. 21 laps on medium tyres. That would be quite remarkable from Donev if he can make it happen. It would be 23 laps actually. That's unbelievable if he can do that. But I think he is going to have to pit, which will demote him another few positions, unfortunately. And I think it will be a tall order for him to be in front in this championship after today. But there's only one person that he's going to blame for that. Although it is fair to say that if it wasn't for the contact, Ayrton wouldn't have DNF'd and would still be in this race. And with the safety car luck that that man gets, you never know. So, you know, maybe this has worked out for Deneuve after all, but we'll see as the race goes on. He's catching Robinette very, very quickly, so keeping an eye on that gap. But we've got to watch the front too, because they're very close still. So, race still goes on. 25 of 35. It's going to be 10 laps left at the end of this one. There's Short Marcus, 8/10 behind Martin. Still within DRS range, but the Red Bull is just too strong in the twisty sections of the track. And Short Marcus isn't able to get close enough to make a move at any of these DRS straights. And especially with the EOS situation, both of them have got more than enough. So Martin has enough to defend with. Speed Alcoholic gets himself another time penalty. He's up to 9 seconds, and Short Marcus gets himself another one as well. And I think that is going to be race over in terms of the winner, unless we have a mistake from Martin, and there is one. He's gone very deep there. That's not the first time he's done that at that corner. In that Red Bull, and the 6-second shod Short Marcus, if there is a massive error from Martin to come, could still win this race. And in fact, he's trying to still put pressure on the Red Bull, and he's done exactly that because Martin's gone deep. It is Short Marcus going to be able to have a run towards the wall of champion chicane. Here comes Short Marcus now. He's got the run. He's going to go down the inside. I think he's going to get this move done on the Red Bull. Martin pays for his mistake, and Short Marcus into the lead. But is he going to have DRS again? I'm not sure. Does Martin have it? No, he doesn't. And he has to stick behind the Alfa Romeo for now. But he knows he doesn't have to make this move. 6 seconds of penalties on that car in front of him. And he's going to see that, and he's going to know that all he has to do is stay within DRS range for the next 9 laps, and he will win this race. But easier said than done. It really is. Especially when you've already made mistakes earlier on in the race. It gets in your head. You think, sort of intrusive thoughts, am I really going to be able to make it to the end without another error? I've already made 2. That's the sort of thoughts that are going to be going through Martin's head. But he's still right on the back of Short Marcus for now and has no sign of staying behind. And Lopez is back. Welcome back. Yes, Vetsku is in P3 and he has a 3.4 second margin to Myra. It's still very close between the two of them. Is Martin going to go for a move into the wall of champion chicane? I'd be surprised if he did, and he doesn't. Nearly goes in the back, but that's the toe. Retires from the session. It's in the pit lane. It's in the pit lane. No safety car. Okay, but here comes Martin again. He's got the DRS, but again, he's going to stick behind. Very sensible driving from Martin. He wants this maiden victory in ESRL. He does not want to settle for P2, and he just, or for any other position for that matter, And he's going to stay where he is. Deneuve right behind Robinet as well now. He's caught up to this Ferrari and looking to get into P6. He's still got to do another 8 laps on those, what must be screaming already, medium tyres. But if he does do this, what a drive it would be. The tyre saving genius if he can get those mediums to the end. He is still right behind this Ferrari. He's going to have the DRS. I think he might make a move here on the Frenchman. He is going to. Down the inside goes Deneuve. He takes P6. And his fight back continues, but he's still got to do another 8 laps on those medium tyres, which at this point are 15 laps old. So, wow, as TF Martin now gets himself a time penalty. It's not over yet, but Short Marcus does have 6 seconds. So Martin now is going to be nervous, though. He is going to be nervous. It is going to make him sweat knowing if he gets another penalty, he loses this race. So he's still in a fantastic position, but, you know, once you get the penalty, when you start making the mistakes, that's when the doubts start to creep in, and sometimes racing is a mental game. So can Martin deal with the pressure? That's the question over these next 6 laps. The main Wayne making a move for P9 on DTS Ayrton, it looks like, on the run to turn 1 on the minimap there. As Martin practically pushing Short Marcus through the hairpin. Could a move be made again? DRS going to be open. Is the Red Bull going to take the risk of remaining behind, knowing that he could get another penalty? He's not making a move into the chicane, but he was very, very close. And now he's got a run on the Alfa Romeo on the run to turn 1. He's right behind, but Short Marcus has so much straight line speed, it seems, in that Alfa Romeo. But look at that, he's running out of the ERS on that steering wheel. Martin has much more in the tank. Deneuve is into the pits. He has decided he's not going to survive on those mediums. He's going to try and go for fastest lap instead on a set of softs at the end. And get himself an extra point anyway. But he's got to make the move on Avi before the end to make it worth it. He's going to come out ahead of the main Wayne, but he's going to be a long way behind Avi. And to make it worth it, he's got to get fastest lap and get past Avi, which is not easy. What are the penalties? Yeah, they're on the same number of penalties as well, so it is going to have to be a move on track for Deneuve. 7.6 seconds he's got to catch in 5.5 laps. It's not easy at all, but I think he's capable of doing that, to be honest. So do keep an eye on that gap. As Martin still approaches on the run to the chicane. Not able to make the move though. Once again, and I don't think he really wants to make the move. He just wants to stick behind and win the race on penalties. It's a boring way to win a race, but it's the best way to win a race. It's the strategic way to win, and I mean, all this talk about Martin being a bottle job in the last few races and in the sprints as well. He is going to be looking to get one over on the man who was his rival in the sprint championship just last month, or a couple of months ago. No, it was last month, it's January. So Martin getting revenge for all those sprint races he lost to Short Marcus. But here he goes now. He's right behind again, side by side through the hairpin. Not able to make a move there, but he's going to see that red flashing light on the back of the Alfa Romeo. He's going to go round the outside. Surely this is going to end in tears. No, Short Marcus sensibly backs out. Down to second place again on track, as it looked like maybe a mistake from Martin. No, I think he's just going defensive on the Alfa Romeo. Short Marcus, no ERS left on that car, and I think this could be game over now for certain, as long as Martin can keep that car in shape for the next 4 laps. Vetsku, though, keep an eye on this. Myra is catching Vetsku. 3 seconds, 3.1. He's got to stay. He's got to get within 3 seconds to snatch the podium away from his fellow countryman. It would be a terrible way to lose a podium for Vetsku, but it could well happen. Myra has been slowly but surely chipping away every lap at that gap, and it's coming down to within range, 3.097 seconds. Vetsku was better through that corner, but this is going to come right down to the wire between these two for that final podium place, as Donev, meanwhile, does set the fastest lap, and he's already only 3.5 seconds behind Avi. I think it is going to be worth it for him. He's still got another 3.5 laps to close that Mercedes down and get past. Short Marcus still sticking behind Martin. Got to keep an eye on if anyone else gets any penalties. Well, there's one for DTS Ayrton, but ones we're really interested in are Vetsku and Martin. Let's have another look at the penalties. It's 3 seconds for Vetsku still. Short Marcus still on 6. It's a 4.7 second gap to Vetsku. I don't think Marcus is really in danger of losing second place. But it is going to be close on penalties at the end here. Myra still within 3.2 of Vetsku. It's hovering around that range, isn't it? Speed has a huge moment in the background there in the Ferrari. Just about manages to save the car. He's got 9 seconds of penalties, but funnily enough, it's not going to affect where he finishes this race. Because his teammate Robinet is also on 3. But it's a good result for Ferrari as it stands, and a fantastic result for Red Bull today. Despite them not carrying that 1-2 into the race, they're still going to get a fantastic haul of points, which could see them top the Constructors' Championship after today. But Donev now finally within DRS range of Avi. I think this move is going to be made before the final chicane. Here goes the Alpine. It's going to be worth it if he can make this move for him to pit on those softs at the end. And I think that is job done for Donev. Up to P7, an extra point gained after his pit stop. And Avi gets another penalty just to confirm that for Donev. He will finish P7 with the fastest lap, and he will be leading the championship as it stands after today by 2 points from his main rival NER Ayrton. Myra in P4. I think I might have to blue screen in a sec. We'll see. But Short Marcus now out of DRS range of Martin. I think this is game over for the Alfa Romeo. 6 seconds is the gap. Sorry, 6 seconds is the amount of penalties he has, and 6/10 is the gap. Onto the final lap. TF Martin looking for his maiden victory in ESRL Division 1. Short Marcus looking for exactly the same thing, but it's all the cards are in TF Martin's hands. There is a back marker coming up, a couple of back markers, Lifeout and Trugster. They've got to rely on them to get out the way from the blue flags. I'm just going to have to blue screen you 1 second. I do apologise. So I'm just joined the party. Got to mute them. There we go. Right, back to the race. Martin coming up to these back markers now. Are they going to listen to the blue flags? Could we have late drama? Myra is 3.039 behind Vetsku. It's going to be right down to the wire for that final podium place. Martin coming through the final hairpin. There's Trugster in front, the back marker. They're going to, well, they're going to hope they don't get lapped. But Martin just desperately hoping that they would go away. As here comes Short Marcus, nearly has a look down the inside, thinks better of it. So Martin comes across the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. What a drive from him. And he has quelled all of those talk about him not being able to do it. Vetsku finishes third, but Myra gets him at the line on penalties, 0.095. It was a race-long battle between the two of them, but Myra snatches it on the final lap and takes P3. It's a double podium for Red Bull. What a drive for Myra to snatch it away, but Vetsku is going to be devastated to finish in 4th. Speed Alcoholic in 5th. And Robin-A in P6. Why is my PS4 telling me that? Is the stream still going? The stream's still going. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Yeah, Vetsku just losing out at the end, but it is a finished podium indeed. Myra gets it from his fellow countryman. Dunev gets driver of the day. I think that is very reasonable, but I am going to have to give my own driver of the day. Oh, I do apologise, the toe. I did not see your message there. I was... I was too busy focusing on this fantastic action. I hate Canada, says JP. I'm not quite sure which driver you are on the grid, but there we go. There's your top 3. Myra snatching it right at the end. Oh, you're the toe. Okay. Yes, DNF for you, unfortunately. Lifebound and Trugster, it says they finished 1 lap down. Because the penalties dropped them behind Martin, of course. But it is a race win for TF Martin with short markers in P2 in the end. A race-long battle between the two of them, but I think they are the right way round in the end. Myra P3 snatches it at the end from Vetsku on penalties, who finishes in 4th. Speed Alcoholic P5, solid result for him, and Robin-A 6th, very solid for him too. Dunev with a fantastic comeback to finish P7 and with the fastest lap to take the championship lead. Avi, the main Wayne, DTS Ayrton, Lostock, Lifebound and Trugster, the last of the finishes, and the Toe, Wumax, and Denis Ivanov, and of course the defending champ NER Ayrton out of the race, finishing with no points. Right, I'm gonna ping Short Marcus, Martin, and Myra. And see if we can get them in the party for a quick interview. So don't go away if you want to hear what the top 3 have to say. Just going to blue screen you for a second as I sort out the party. And see if our podium finishers join in. For some interviews. I'll give them a couple of minutes. Actually, I'll make a. Right. Let's see. Right. Close. we'll invite them in. Right, they're invited, so hopefully they'll arrive. We've got Short Marcus in.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just gonna make sure Martin and Myra's in. Just gonna make sure.
All right, guys. How are you?
Hello, welcome. For some reason, it won't let me add Martin.
Okay. I don't know why.
It won't let me add
Actually,
you
I
to
think
the party.
I think he told me that he's not going to be able to join.
Okay, that's fine then.
I can speak for the both of us. So
No problem. Right. Well, in that case, I'll start with you, Short Marcus. Well, I mean, that was quite the performance from you, and maybe if you didn't get that extra penalty, you'd have been in with a real shot at that race win. But in the end, it just allowed Martin to control the race. So, did you feel like you could have won that race? Were you frustrated by your penalties, or did you feel satisfied with a good P2?
In all honesty with you, I spent the whole race kicking myself. I wasn't happy overall with my performance. The pace was okay, but just my consistency wasn't there. I kept making quite a few little errors here and there, which sort of led to too many warnings. I got too many of them really early on. I think one of them was battling side by side with somebody, I can't remember who it was, going into the final chicane, and yeah, it's one of those. I felt like I definitely had the pace to get ahead of Martin. I definitely didn't have the pace to pull away from him. I think he probably had the edge on me overall. But yeah, had the penalty situation been even, I think I definitely would have given it that little extra on that last lap.
That's absolutely fair. Could you both quickly do something for me just to make sure? Go into the party and then your party audio settings, and then allow your voice to be shared to always allow, just in case, just to make sure.
It's on mine. So.
Cool. Just to make sure. Yes.
Well, okay, now it should be. I had it in Finnish, so I had to think for a while which one it is, but it was,
No
it
problem.
should be okay now.
Okay, cool. Just so you can both come through on the stream. But yeah, Marcus, when you saw Ayrton spin, and I don't know if you saw what happened afterwards, but what was going through your head at that point? Did you think then that you had a good chance at winning the race, or were you just focused on what was happening and just still trying to do the best you could? I know you said you were disappointed with your performance today, but despite that, I think P2's a good job. But at that point, what were you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm the first person. I'm very self-critical. I like to, I'm a perfectionist. I strive for the best. So, I'll always be like that. But I think, when I saw out, I didn't see what happened. I just sort of saw flashed up on the screen that he had crashed out or DNF'd, and then sort of came across past his stricken car. That was a little bit of a relief because I only had one other guy to focus on. I knew quite early on that the race win was really between the three of us, me, Martin, and Ayrton. And I think when Ayrton went out, it just sort of took my mind off. Rather than trying to think about two other cars and what they were doing, I could just focus on the one. And I certainly know Martin, having raced him in the reverse championship, so I know that I could at least match him, if not try and better him. So yeah, definitely the thought was on at that point. I knew the win was definitely on the table. Unfortunately, it did cause a VSC, which I think just helped Martin a little bit as well with his pit. I think he gained just a little bit, which was enough.
Yeah, it was about half a second.
Yeah, which I think just had enough to prevent my undercut and allow him to get ahead of a couple of cars, which maybe you could argue made the difference, maybe didn't. Yeah, one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's tough to say, but I think nonetheless you put in a great performance today. I will tell you both. I don't know if you both saw what happened after Ayrton spun, but He spun at that corner and then tried to get himself back the right way and get himself off the racing line. But none other than his rival Denev tried to avoid him and smacked straight into him and took him out the race. Denev was very lucky himself to stay in it. So I'm sure that would be looked at by the stewards. But yeah, so after knowing that, Marcus, do you think maybe with a bit of luck coming your way and some more good races like today, do you think you might be in with a shot of the Drivers' Championship?
We never say never. It's early days, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Ayrton's, and Denev look to be a fair chunk quicker than me in raw pace, but it's never stopped me in the past. And sometimes you got to be lucky. You got to have lucky races. It's all about that consistent point scoring, and days like today, you just need to make sure you capitalise as much as you possibly can. And if I'm having a bad day, I need to try and again, damage limitation. But yeah, it's a long old championship. Anything's on the cards.
Absolutely right. Well done again today. And I will move on to you, Myra. Today, after the sprint race, you looked fantastic. You were pulling away at the start, and you continued to pull away from your teammate in the wet conditions. Obviously, he caught up to you at the end. I did want to ask just then at the sprint race, I suspected you might have snagged a wall and got yourself a bit of damage because Martin really approached you quickly. So what did happen to the healthy gap that you had?
That's a very good question, actually. I have to say I don't know. The car felt very good in the wet, or okay, and apparently I was a bit faster than the other guys. But as soon as the track started to dry up, it felt like I didn't have any grip at all, and I don't actually remember tapping any walls. So, in my guess, I didn't have any damage. So yeah, I don't know what happened, to be fair.
Fair enough. I think maybe Martin just turned on the afterburners.
I don't know what.
Yeah, turned on the turbocharger.
yeah, might be.
Yeah, well, you did well nonetheless to secure the sprint win, and then obviously had the. It can only be described as a horrible start to the main race. And what was going through your head as you were shipping positions left and right on the first lap?
As you said, I had a terrible start. Guys were coming past me from right and left, Short Marcus and Ayrton, and I just tried to keep it together as good as I could. But it kind of felt I had problems on the throttle going out from the corners also in the beginning of the race. I don't know. I haven't checked my. I have to see on the stream what my tire temps was on the back in the start. But yeah, that was basically it. And of course, the bad start I can explain just with losing the grip when I left or when I started. So yeah, that was basically it. And yeah. Then I just tried to keep my head together and go forward.
Well, you certainly did that, and at the end of the race, I saw that gap between you and Vetsku was about 3.8 for a while, and then slowly as the race kept going on, it started chipping away down and down and down, and just on the final lap there, was that a really, really good lap that you did on the last lap? Were you giving it absolutely everything to get that 3-second gap? Because it was extremely close at the end.
Yeah, well, first of all, I lost my position during the virtual safety car to Vetsku because we made a double stop with Martin. And after that, I was 1.5 seconds behind him when we came out, and then he just started pulling away. I don't know why I couldn't keep in his pace. He was just faster. And then actually when we came closer to the end, I would say I think the gap was actually over 4 seconds at some point.
Yeah.
But closer to the end, maybe 8 laps before the end or something, I started to closing in on him. I don't know, did he have problems with his tires or what it was. And when I left to my last lap, I think I had 10% on my ERS left, so that didn't help much. But I just, gave it my all and was closely watching the gap between me and Vetsku, and I saw before the last turn, I actually saw that it was 3.1, I think, or 3.09.
Yeah.
Then I just decided to give it my everything to the last chicane, and I kind of nailed it, so I think I took 1 or 2 tenths there.
Well, that is what the great drivers do. They find that perfect line just when they need it. So well done to you today.
Thanks.
Very well deserved off that podium. And Vetsku's going to have to wait a little bit longer for his maiden ESRL podium.
Yeah.
But regardless, well done to the both of you today on the podiums. And I'm sure. Hopefully I'm going to be doing more of these interviews as the season goes on, so I'm sure I'll see both of you here again at some point.
Hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully so.
Indeed.
Well, thank you very much, Ghost, and I got to say before you go, a big happy birthday to you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I've had a good day.
Yeah.
And hey, great drive, Short Marcus, also. Great drive.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. I appreciate it. Same for yourself as well. And as I think Joe said early on, your sprint race was phenomenal. To be honest, I don't think anyone could get near you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I do have. There are a lot of Vetsku fans in the chat the last couple of weeks. One of them's just said that Vetsku said he made a mistake in the last corner. So not only did you nail it. That little mistake has cost him the podium. So, I mean, all credit to you for that fantastic line through to take the podium at the very end. But
yeah, and actually, I have to say one more thing, that I think I took my boat penalties during the first 10 or 15 laps, so it was not so easy driving after that. But I kept it together, so
yeah, I can
didn't
imagine.
get any time penalty.
Well. Thank you both again for joining me in the box at the end of the race, and have a good rest of your weekend, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, man.
I look forward to watching the stream bit.
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all enjoyed in the chat as well. And have a good rest of your weekend, everyone that's watching, and we'll see you next week for more ESRL. Goodbye, everyone.